Mhm.
So we've talked a little bit about shielding and about bandwidth, but what else makes that big difference when we plug in that dollar store HDMI cable versus a high quality cable? Because we can see the difference, but why can we see the difference? What's causing that difference? Is it because of the bandwidth? Is it because maybe the dollar store HDMI cable is pushing 5 gigs versus the 48 that the more expensive one is pushing? Or what are the factors that are really coming into play that we can see on our TV screen?
So when you say we can see, I really don't know what that means because I've heard users say, well, this cable looks better than the other cable.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I guess if one cable is physically working better, you can have situations where your cheap cable that's probably not certified is barely pushing the bits together. So you're basically what that means is with any data throughput, your error rate starts increasing. And there's a threshold where it's too much error, then you get a blank screen. But if there's not enough errors, then you get a screen. But there's this small window where it's like bad, but not bad enough to get a black screen. So you can theoretically have like what I call dancing pixels. It
Okay.
looks like little dots, like randomly. But it's not like analog. So a lot of people think I still have the analog mentality where if you bought back in the day component or video analog cables and one was physically better quality than the other, then you actually see quality difference, right? Because it's analog. That's not really true for digital because digital basically you send the data and it's like reconstituted on the other side, and accounting for errors and whatnot. So it's hard to say that if you're going to see better picture quality by cable. I mean, unless the cable itself was designed for that, because there are cables that actually have even more active electronics in the cable itself
Hmm.
that have video processors and all that in the cable, and some manufacturers give you that option. But in most cases, I mean, the cable, especially if it's just a dumb copper wire, it's and assuming they're both certified, they should deliver the same picture quality. Unless again, the cable you bought, that cheap cable you bought, they say it's certified, but it's not really, right? Because it's right on that border, and you're getting not as good picture quality because you're getting higher error rates, but not enough to fail, but enough to see those dancing pixels potentially. But I haven't seen, like, I've gone through millions of, maybe not millions, but hundreds of cables myself, and I've never seen picture quality drop or increase just by changing a cable. Again, being certified, right? Again, everything being equal. But again, just because you bought a cable and it works doesn't mean the next 50 guys is going to work. That's another thing I always tell people. It's like, yeah, you can buy a cheap cable, you might get lucky, but unless you know for sure it's certified, it's hard to say that yeah, that cable is going to work. And even if you buy any product, not just cables, you're going to have quality issues from time to time, right? Because they're stamping out these cables tens of thousands at a time. So yeah, even if you buy from a good brand, yeah, you might run into a situation where it's not ideal, right? And you need that support and whatever. But yeah, when it comes to everything being equal, regardless of the price, and they're technically, physically tested and certified, then there shouldn't be any difference. And because the biggest difference is the devices themselves. Devices themselves make sending what they're supposed to send, and ensure to do that. And a lot of the modern devices as well may have capability to kind of not really fully test, but just kind of spot check whether the connection, the cable, and the connection itself is good. So they may deem that the cable, for whatever reason, isn't meeting the error rate, so they may send lower video resolution. So you might even not realize you're running at 1080p. You thought it was 4K, then yeah, okay, you can see that happening. So that's theoretically possible, but from a technical perspective, cables being the same, certified, everything, it should deliver the same performance.
But if they're not certified, then they might not be hitting that minimum of the 5 gigabyte or 10 gigabyte or 48 gigabyte that a typical cable is for, right? And that's where people could see a drop in the bit depth, or no?
No, what would happen is, I mean, if you buy like a real, like this year, if you buy TVs and devices, then yeah, they could, some of them should be able to automatically, bring you down. Uh, Theoretically, I haven't seen them personally, so I can't speak for that. But in most cases, if you say I want 1080p 60 or 4K 120 or 4K 60 coming out of my device to my TV, and your cable can't do it, you just get a black screen. It's that, and that, like I said, if they're like right on that small band where it's fail or possible, but they're like that little white band, you can have maybe not really snowing, but you can have like dots, or the picture goes in out. Right, you're playing all of a sudden 10 minutes in, your picture cuts out and then comes back. So those kind of situations, that means your cable's probably right on the border of compliance.